I want to talk about adapting in uncertain times. 2020 will be the year that will make or break many organizations and business models. We spend a lot of time as companies thinking about how new competitors or technology disrupts our business, but how many of us thought that we spend most of this year dealing with a global pandemic, multiple wildfires, hurricanes, social unrest, political uncertainty, the largest unemployment we've seen in decades. And that's just here in the US. These epic tests of our persistence and resilience do not need to be the downfall of our organizations if you're prepared to adapt in uncertain times. I'm going to talk about three primary important elements in navigating and adapting in uncertain times: mission, people, and technology. So first, let's talk about mission. Mission matters. I'm going to tell you a little story. In 1997, an East Coast company was king of kings among booksellers, with nearly 1,000 stores in operation and opening new ones at almost a pace of a store a day. Its mission? To operate the best omni-channel specialty retail business in America, helping both our customers and booksellers reach their aspirations while being a credit to the communities we serve. Its stock traded at $11 a share, and they had logged $2.8 billion of revenue in 1997. They had earned their title as the world's largest bookseller. However, by the end of 2019, that East Coast company was worth just $3.90 a share, and sales, including their e-commerce revenue, was down to $2.5 billion. On the opposite coast, a 2-plus-year-old company in 1997 was gearing up to do business in the book-selling space as well. Its mission? To be Earth's most customer-centric company, to build a place where people can come to find and discover anything they might want to buy online. Its shares traded just a little over $4 a share, and they only posted $147 million in sales that year from their online bookstore. But in their annual letter to shareholders, they made a bold statement. This is day one for the internet, and if we execute well, for us. By the end of 2019, that company was now worth almost $1,900 a share and had over $280 billion in sales. And that, if that's not a big enough contrast in fortunes, fast forward to August 2020, post-COVID. Barnes & Noble, that East Coast giant from 1997, now trades for just over $2 a share, losing about 40% of its market value in less than 8 months. Amazon, that online upstart from 1997, traded at nearly $3,300 just a week ago, a 75% gain in market cap during the worst pandemic in modern times. And I'm going to pose to you that mission was the differentiator. Barnes & Noble saw themselves as a bookseller, and they waited for e-commerce trends to be established before they really invested in their online presence, focusing instead on retail locations and the customer experience in-store. Amazon pictured itself bigger, a place where consumers could come to find and discover anything they might want to buy online. They spent money on the online experience and began focusing on logistics and fulfillment centers to improve the delivery experience. Over time, they became a true online marketplace where you really can buy almost anything, and they've perfected delivery relative to their competitors, offering same-day delivery of some products. In a post-COVID world, where non-essential retailers were shuttered and customers were reluctant to leave their houses for even essential items, Amazon was fulfilling its mission to the nth degree. The lesson? Think big. Make your mission precise enough to give you a sense of direction, but bold enough to be willing to step into adjacencies when the world goes sideways. I'm really proud to say that Lyft's mission is to improve people's lives with the world's best transportation. So you may think of us as a ride-sharing service, But our business really has a lot of other models that encompass a broader sense of transportation. And while we've been hit hard, especially with travel restrictions and all the shelter-in-place orders, we've been able to jumpstart some of our recovery by opening our aperture and really expanding our bike share platform, expanding into essential deliveries and healthcare concierge services for patients who still need trips to their doctor, and for looking at new customer segments like essential workers who actually would prefer to be on rideshare versus public transportation in the middle of a pandemic. Don't let your mission box you in. Barnes & Noble wanted to be a bookseller. Amazon wanted to be a marketplace. So if your mission doesn't let you contemplate tomorrow that is different than today, you're probably at risk of falling behind. Think about your mission in light of this pandemic. And is it the North Star it needs to be? Prioritize people. Whether we're talking about your customers or your employees, prioritizing people will always help you stay ahead of the curve. But nowhere is it more important than times like these. First, that means leading with empathy, whether that's for your customers, your suppliers, your partners, or your employees. Remember that everyone is coping with change and dealing with personal and professional challenges that no handbook or contract ever contemplated. Leading with empathy means assuming good intentions of everybody in your value chain, keeping the communication channels open, giving employees, vendors, partners, and customers opportunity to provide feedback, both formally or informally. It's thinking about flexible options for everyone. For example, some employees need financial security, others need mental health support, some need time off to deal with school, childcare, sick family members. Customers need different options. Some need cost reduction, but some just need different payment terms. Vendors and partners are dealing with short-term business challenges, but they too want to preserve that long-term business value. Stay open to a range of models that work together. This is a big one. Communicate transparently to all your stakeholders. Nothing builds trust like transparency. In silence, your customers, your vendors, your employees assume the worst, and they spin up scenarios in their mind far worse than your economic reality. Communicate good news and bad news frequently and with speed. Even communicating uncertainty can steady a nervous customer or employee. If you have supply chain disruptions, come clean fast. If layoffs are a possibility to reduce cost or protect cash, don't be afraid to signal that possibility with context or factors that may influence that decision. Communicate frequently and consistently on multiple channels to reach people in ways that they can digest and understand. Never underestimate how many times you need to communicate things to have your message heard and understood. And finally, prioritize safety. And I know that seems really obvious in a pandemic, but I'm talking about physical and psychological safety. You know, the pandemic's been a real eye-opener for teaching us the importance of physical safety, both for our customers and our employees. Applying those standards uniformly and consistently is actually appreciated by all, even when nobody loves wearing masks or other things that make it safer and easier to interact. But it's equally important to create psychological safety, particularly with your employees in uncertain times. They need to feel supported, they need to feel empowered, they need to feel like they can be part of the solution. They need those flexible options to help them care for themselves, their mental and physical health. At Lyft, I'm really proud. We've done a lot of things to put people first in the equation. You know, right away, we made sure that our drivers had access to CDC sanitation guidelines and supplies. We also began extra sanitation of our bikes on the platform. We updated the app to make our riders pledge to wear masks for safety with our drivers. And we gave our drivers support and ability to enforce that safety with passengers, including FAQs on how to deal with passengers and how to discuss safety, enabling them to cancel trips with no penalties for passengers who refuse to wear masks or comply with any other safety requests. Our crisis management team communicates with employees weekly about changes in protocols, even when there aren't any, and office safety. And we've enabled work from home for employees who can do their jobs remotely through June of 2021. This is letting employees plan their lives, their personal health plans, even where they live, until we have better visibility of the testing and vaccine landscape. Our autonomous team stepped up, and they actually built safety dividers that can be installed in our drivers' cars to add additional layers of protection between passengers and drivers. They're currently being distributed to top drivers, with more underway to be deployed to future drivers in the future. And finally, tap technology. Much like Amazon saw that online retailing could be a primary channel for their products versus Barnes & Noble, who saw it as a small extension of their physical presence. And for context, in 1997, they had about $14 million of sales online compared to their $2.8 billion of revenue. Leveraging technology is going to continue to be a differentiator. Grocers, department stores, restaurants all had to quickly leverage technologies to adapt in the pandemic to enable drive up and pick up. Employee recruiting and onboarding is now being hosted virtually for almost all companies. And real estate agents, services, events, conferences have all been transformed into virtual forums overnight. Real estate agents are hosting virtual showings and still selling houses. Don't let product and service delivery be the only things you use technology for. Technology can make you less dependent on people and more resilient when it comes to scaling your business up or down. Leverage technology in finance where you can to track performance, improve forecasting, close your books faster and with fewer people. Use robotics process automation to handle repetitive manual tasks that consume lots of people time. Scan and sort mail invoices, answer simple customer questions, respond to inquiries. Technology really enables your employees to work anywhere and anytime, potentially saving real estate and other workplace fringe benefits. It can improve your customer experience through real-time status updates on delivery, returns, payments, or other customer experience dimensions. And if you take advantage of cloud-based tools to reduce your cost of exposure of processing and storing information, plus you get access to more updated tools and systems versus an on-premise solution. You can use data to give you new insights, slice and dice your customer data to show you subtle changes in demand or get feedback on pricing strategies. Cost-effective tools are out there that enable simple analysis and visualization of your data, and they fit any organization size or budget. Lyft is making technology a priority too. Not only is our entire marketplace built on our own technology platform, we're focused on streamlining and standardizing communication tools that are enabling remote work for employees like Google Meet and Slack. We're continuing our investment in enterprise-grade ERP, even though we did make cost cuts, because that's going to be a primary enabler of automating and integrating more of our finance activities. We've adopted a cloud-first strategy, so that our primary suite of non-proprietary applications are easy to upgrade. And we're using workflow tools like Jira, not just for managing IT tickets, but for finance, HR, procurement, any kind of approvals and workflow. Uncertainty doesn't have to mean you underperform, and disruption doesn't mean you have to become a dinosaur. Successfully navigating and adapting in these uncertain times can be the reality for your organization too. So let's remember some takeaways from this. If we can go to that last slide. Mission matters. Future-proof yours. Take advantage of new opportunities in this moment. Make sure your mission's a North Star and that your aperture is wide on what that could mean. Prioritize people. Lead your customers, lead your employees, lead your vendors and business partners with empathy. Communicate transparently and often, even if it's only to know you're still dealing with uncertainty. And finally, tap technology. If you haven't done it already, let it unlock your business potential. It can create economies of scale in downtimes and uptimes. It's going to enable you to connect to your employees and your customers and your vendors in new ways. And data is going to help you make better decisions. You too can adapt.